Hello, everybody. I'm Janet Garber, reporting from my home. I thought I'd read a little section of my first novel, Dream Job, which some of you may know about. This is a scene where the heroine, Melly, confronts her off and on boyfriend, and surprises him by going up to his shack in the north. Melly was still grinning when she stepped off the train at Finn Lake on a gray Wednesday morning and went hunting for a taxi. Arriving at the cabin, she marched right in, expecting Ted to be at work, but instead she found him in full morning déshabillé, lying on the settee in front of the TV, holy undershirt, unholy boxer shorts, and bare feet, scratching places where the sun don't shine. "Ted! Mel!" He jumped up and just gaped at her. She went straight to the breakfast nook and plunked her bag down. "Stop looking at me like that, please." He gathered himself together and poured 2 cups of First Avenue coffee. "You just gave me a bit of a fright, that's all. Can we sit?" They sat down stiffly on either end of the settee. When she didn't start talking, he asked, "So, lady, what brings you to this neck of the woods on a Wednesday?" She shrugged. "I see. Very interesting. Have a hard roll, then." She did. "Why aren't you at work, Ted?" He raised an eyebrow, seemed about to respond, then just shook his head. He grabbed another roll. "Ted, what? Are you ready for that ball you told me about, Victoriana, the one you organized?" "Ready?" "Mel, we've got weeks yet, until the end of September. But can you believe it? A dozen girls came into the shop, and me and Helen, who's somewhat of a seamstress, set them up just fine with antique silk and lace gowns, long satin gloves, pointy little shoes. We even found a few wide-brimmed hats, like out of a movie. They look so pretty. You're going to love this event better than an evening at the Met." She studied her nails, ragged. She'd never been to the Met. "What is going on?" "How do you mean?" "In our relationship." She almost choked. "What do you want me to say?" He was sneaking glances at the TV. "What do you think of us?" "Us?" He appeared to be having trouble translating what she was saying into his native language. "Forget it." He got up and stood beside her, pulling her up to face him. "Look, love, I don't know what you'd like me to say. You show up here with no warning. I think I'm being robbed, and you start demanding things. I have a slight hangover. Answer me, damn you." "Lady," he said, dropping back onto the settee, "first off, I don't like my woman to be cussing that way, and second off, I don't do relationships." For the next 10 minutes, Ted stared at a TV show about making it on Wall Street. The show ended, he shut the TV off and went to shower. He came out in a funny antique nightshirt and a silly nightcap, pirouetted in front of her, then stretched out in the sleeping cove. It was 11:35 a.m. "Lady, I'm having trouble with something in here. Can you help, please?" She couldn't help herself. Later, "To what do I owe—" "Oh, shut up, Ted." "Now she wants me to keep quiet." He began to shake her. "It's just that I know what you're going to say." He let go of her. "How can you?" "It's just that what you say, Ted, is so limited." "Now she's telling me I'm stupid. Get out of my bed." He started shoving her until she hung over the bed, screaming for mercy. Then he pulled her as if to hug her, but instead gave her a final shove. Off they both went, onto the hard wooden floor. "You idiot!" "So what do you want to know, Mel?" She hid her head under her arm. "I don't know," she whispered. "Oh." He sat up and dusted himself off. "Tell you what, I've got a special delivery to make." "Right." He looked at her quizzically, like a puppy with his head to one side. In a few moments he was gone, murmuring, "I missed you." She watched out the window as he drove off with his cargo, a brass headboard adorned with white porcelain bells. As soon as Ted left the cabin, Gladys started in. She flew into a bathroom, hopped over to the sink, and proceeded to make a meal of a tube of lipstick Melly had left there. "Spit it out," Melly yelled, too late. The bird reacted to her squawking by flying circles around the cabin. Melly watched helplessly as a poop landed right in her open pocketbook. Gross! First birdseed in my coffee, now this? Ted was wrong. That was no accident. I'll get you back, Melly threatened, narrowing her eyes and trying to look as menacing as possible. You better watch your back. Gladys just fluttered her feathers, but to Melly's eyes, she looked a little concerned. With Ted out making his delivery and Gladys making her own, Melly felt her best course of action was to go over to the shop. Once there, she had a ball trying on the entire stock of antique clothing, crocheted shawls, evening gowns, dressing gowns, brooches, cameos, filigree pins, and accessories she termed indeterminables. She settled on a mauve-colored satiny gown with a bell-shaped crinoline, which she pulled over her own black leggings. Underneath a basket of old magazines, she unearthed a pair of low-heeled, laced-up ivory boots. She hung a vintage brass teardrop necklace of gold and green around her neck. All that was missing was a suitable hat or feathers for her hair, or maybe she should put her hair up in ringlets. I could wear this splendid costume to the Victoriana ball. When she returned to the house, wearing a purple smock that went perfectly with her black leggings and black ballet slippers, she grabbed Ted's heavy plaid shirt and slipped into it. The weather was turning a bit raw. Ted was home, puttering around outside, gluing, shoring up, stacking, sorting, but never throwing out. Later they sat on the deck out back, watching the sunset over the forest behind this house. Suddenly Melly wanted to know something. Do you think you could meet the 8:15 train on Friday? She quickly took a bite of apple and stared down at her pretty little ballet slippers. Lady, roared the bear, we haven't met the train out of here yet. He stood up to his full height. Melly jumped up at that and set her apple down on the step. She moved to the center of the deck and pulled the purple smock over her head, balling it up and throwing it into a corner. I'm ready to go. Can you get my suitcase? Raring to go is more like it. Ted swooped down on her and carried her through the house, to the front door, across the road, and down the short path to the dusky lake. He stood her up like a big doll, held on to her, and stared into her big brown eyes. He pulled off her leggings and slippers. One for the road, m'lady? It felt like 50 degrees out this chilly evening, but... Oh, Ted. Damn, I love it here.